heard item 11, Wehrle. And court says, note there are many observers who have informed court staff that they are here to observe this matter. And a reminder to all that recording of this proceeding is prohibited. I'm going to ask all observers to turn on your video camera. If your video camera is not on, you will be removed from the meeting now. And we'll start with appearances for counsel.
Yes, good afternoon, Your Honor. Tamitha Clemens appearing on behalf of the respondent, John Wehrle, who is present.
Good afternoon. Do we have Miss Wehrle?
Amber Berry, pro per.
Good afternoon. Was your last name formerly Wehrle?
Yes, it was.
All right. And the person who is appearing in court and driving is now removed from the meeting. Geraldine, removed from the meeting. You cannot appear in court and drive at the same time. That is unsafe. All other parties who do not have their cameras on are going to be removed if you're observing. However, we need to be careful because there is a party on item 10 and item 1. Just one moment while the clerk removes all parties or all observers who do not have their video cameras on. All right, the clerk will administer the oath.
Both parties, please raise your right hand to be sworn in. Do you solemnly state that the testimony you shall give in this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And ma'am, what was your response again?
Yes.
Thank you.
Any update from the county?
Yes, Your Honor. This is the first appearance on Counsel for Father's motion filed on September 6th, 2024 to modify support. The current order is 0, and that was from a statement of decision that was entered on June 24th, 2021. That order also indicated that mother was to be on a job contact order. I did contact the parties to do a meet and confer. There was an income and expense declaration that was filed by counsel on behalf of her client on October 11th, so we do have his financial information. When I spoke with mother, she indicated she had concerns with filing documents with the court, and I indicated that she would need to address those with the court this afternoon.
Just one moment. I am going to ask the clerk to remove Jill Montez. It's very distracting to the courts. Some of the observers are walking around, moving around, and they will not be readmitted back into the meeting. Thank you. You may proceed, Ms. Perriott.
So, Your Honor, we do not have any information filed from Ms. Berry. And again, she indicated that she did have concerns with filing documents with the court, and I indicated that those would need to be addressed in front of Your Honor.
Oh, one moment. It looks like we lost Ms. Berry. If she rejoins.
I was removed.
I apologize, Ms. Berry. What was the last thing that you heard?
We're going to remove Jill Montez, and then I was removed, so I have no idea what happened.
Ms. Perriott, if you could repeat.
Thank you. you, Honor. So we did receive an income and expense declaration from father filed October 11th. When I did the meet and confer with Ms. Berry last week, she indicated that she had concerns with filings with Your Honor, so I did indicate that any issues that she would need to address with Your Honor this afternoon.
I thank you. And was the county successful in conducting a meet and confer regarding any of the factors?
No.
Clement.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. So yes, we did file. We had originally, my client had reached out to DCSS and gotten approval of his FBI under the Family Violence Indicator, because he does have a current domestic violence restraining order against Ms. Berry, protecting himself and the children. We were hesitant about producing our financial information, but we understand it's our motion. You can't really do much without it. So we did supply that after I did the meet and confer with Ms. Perriott. And so at this point, there was a job contact order, Your Honor, it's in the FOA from August 11th of 2021, in which time Ms. Berry was ordered to make 10 job contacts per week, and she was supposed to report those to me, and she was also supposed to report any changes in income. It has been over 3 years, and I have not gotten one single job contact report or any information about her income at all. She has failed to support her children in any way, shape, or form since that FOA was done. So this is the first time after 3 years Mr. Worley decided it was time that she should be employed. She previously was a paralegal, an accountant. She has 2 degrees, one in paralegal studies, an accounting degree, both associates. She's had 7 Gavron warnings under Commissioner Radican throughout the divorce process, which started in, I believe, 2012. This has been one of my longest running cases. She was a behavioral therapist. The last time she testified, she was making about $38.50 an hour in 2018. She's very employable. I don't know what her income situation is. I don't know if she's employed at this time at all. So obviously I'm running blind. But I did give you all of his income information. He's W-2. There's a 0% timeshare, so it's pretty simple. She has not seen the children since, I believe, January of 2020. So unless you have specific questions at this point yet about his income or deductions or anything, I can answer those.
Thank you. Ms. Berry, are you working at this time?
Yes, ma'am.
Where do you work?
I'm sorry. I make a minimum wage. I work where I live, and housing is included as part of my income. I do not have the availability of the careers that I've had in the past. A domestic violence restraining order was issued in 2020, and repeatedly regarding my internet usage was the main concern of that. That makes filing or maintaining any licenses that I've had in the past to be a behavioral therapist impossible to maintain, as well as passing background checks for a paralegal career. I am off-grid. I am in hiding. This case has gone on for 12 years. It's been several $1 million. I've been categorically eliminated from my children's lives. It's cost the entirety of my life, my motherhood, my personhood. I've been trying to rebuild myself for the past 3 years since this has been done to me. I am off grid. I'm not at all comfortable exposing where I live, where I work. I'm doing the best that I can. I make minimum wage. That unfortunately is one of the byproducts of having a domestic violence restraining order.
What state are you living in so I can figure out what the minimum wage is?
I'm in California. The most recent job that I had that was potentially more than minimum wage, it was a contract opportunity with a friend that was making a leap of faith to give me an opportunity to work remotely with him, staying actually in my home state. Immediately upon filing the W-9 for that position, John contacted the company attorney He contacted the CEO. He's been running a massive smear campaign. He filed an injunction against that company with the Department of Commerce. He's been seeking from the CEO. He has requested repeatedly that if the CEO can produce and make sex tapes at his direction, he will.
Your Honor, I'm just going to object. This is going
Money
beyond
is
your question
Yes,
and the
please,
issues
please.
for today.
Ms. Berry, this is the
I
objection is
understand.
sustained. Ms. Berry, please answer the court's questions. I understand you have a lot to say.
Okay.
What are you doing for work?
I do property maintenance and security.
How much
Where I
are you?
live.
Okay, are you paid by the hour?
I'm paid by the hour.
How much do you earn per hour?
I earn $15.75 an hour.
How many hours per week do you work?
I'm guaranteed compensation of 10 hours per week. My housing and my utilities are included in that. So my opportunity to earn up to 20 hours per week is dependent on the season and holiday schedules. So I earn between $10 and $20 of pay, but my housing is included in that.
What is the value of the housing that's included?
Approximately $350 a month.
How long have you worked at this job?
10 months.
Did you have a job before that?
I did not have a job immediately before that. I was unemployed for about 8 months. Before that, I worked through Choice Home Healthcare, making the same amount. I was able to work, it was through the city of Los Angeles to provide respite care for my nephews that both have autism.
You said you were paid the same amount, $16.75 per hour. Is that correct?
I believe minimum wage was lower. That was about 2 years ago, so I think that there was a slight increase. I would say that was closer to $16 an hour.
How many hours per week did you work then?
I worked 25 to 30 hours per week, depending on need. I do also receive EBT food stamps and Medi-Cal through the County of San Diego, and I just got reapproved for my food stamps.
How long did you have the job at Choice Home Healthcare?
I began that job in 2020. I think I was able, that was about 2 years, just under 2 years, until my nephews started elementary school.
What is the highest level of education that you have?
I have an associate degree.
In what area?
Paralegal.
Are you in good health?
I have a few health issues. Most troubling is high blood pressure. Other than that, my health is average.
How do you file your taxes?
I have not filed taxes since 2019. I have not met the minimum threshold of income to have to file taxes.
What are your monthly expenses?
My monthly expenses are fairly minimal. Like I said, I have food stamps. I would say that my food and grocery cost above what I am allotted by the county is about $150. Gas, insurance, registration for my car runs about $200 a month. I have a cell phone that I reimburse, but it's paid by another party. And those are my only expenses. My housing and electricity and utilities is covered by my job.
What amount of your expenses are paid by others?
Just my cell phone bill is on someone else's account, but I reimburse for that, so none.
Do you have any debts?
I have extreme debt. I'm in the process of not just filing bankruptcy, but I'm in default of every credit account, everything I've ever had. 12 years in family court has fully bankrupted me.
Anything further you'd like to say, Ms. Berry?
I would say that John has made an effort to interfere with every job I've ever made. I do not submit job contacts because I don't need to make job contacts. I have a job. I do not submit any information about my whereabouts because of the extreme stalking and harassment that this case has been for 12 years. My children don't need money. They need their mother.
Ms. Clemens, anything further?
Yes, Your Honor, I do have a couple of things just to point out is that I would like to know where she's employed. I have a right to conduct discovery on this. She's actually the perpetrator of domestic violence. She's not the victim. If anybody should have anything protected, it's my client. Everything and every finding in this case has been that she takes all the information in this court, including all the observers. I get personally harassed. I've had Jill Montez reach out to clients of mine telling them that I'm this terrible person. The harassment extends beyond just Mr. Worley. So you don't have the history of this case, but she's not the victim in this case. She is 100% the perpetrator. She continues to be to this day. I have a right to know what her income is. I don't believe what she's saying about her income. I don't know if she's married. I don't know her tax filing status. She's not paying taxes, so if any support is ran, it should be ran at a gross number. She didn't pay support. This goes back to way before 2019. She wasn't paying support on the about $3 million of spousal support that she received from Mr. Worley. He actually gets to this day the tax notices from the IRS that she has not paid those.
Ms. Clemens, I'm going to interrupt here. Would you like to inquire of Ms. Berry? I know you have mentioned several questions that you have. Would you like to inquire of Ms. Berry?
Sure. Ms. Berry, where are you currently employed?
I'm not comfortable sharing that without a court order.
You are under oath, Ms. Berry. You need to answer the question.
I'm employed with an RV park.
And what is the name of it?
Sky Valley RV Park.
And what's the address of Sky Valley RV Park?
I don't know off the top of my head.
You don't know the address of where you live?
That's the HR department. I know the address of where I live, but that's the HR department that you can contact is at Sky Valley, and I don't know the address of that.
And what city is that located in?
Sky Valley is located in Palm Springs.
And what is your current address?
I'm not comfortable providing that.
But the court will go off the record so that you can provide that information unless there's a reason why, Ms. Berry.
The reason that I am not comfortable providing it is that, as I said earlier, most recently, every single bit of information that John finds out about me, he runs absolute behind-the-scenes sabotage and smear campaigns. Most recently, trying to find someone to direct sex tapes that he was willing to purchase from them. Him knowing where I live and his self-admitted sexual obsession is highly unsafe to me. If this is in question, then Dr., as John knows exactly who he is willing to testify. He's willing to provide a declaration, but he has a long history of sexual obsession, sexual addiction.
Your Honor, I'm just going to object. I'm just going to object that you could read the statement of decision on what the findings were in this case.
The statement of decision.
The legal basis for the objection, Ms. Clemens, the grounds?
Yeah, this is not relevant.
Sustained. Ms. Berry, are you refusing to provide your current address?
I am.
Are you protected by a domestic violence restraining order?
There is a domestic violence restraining order in this case.
Are you a protected party?
I am not.
I will invite argument from the county and council as to whether the court should order Ms. Berry to provide her current address off the record.
Yes, I definitely think she is. Again, I don't see why she is any different from anybody else, especially since also the housing goes directly to the support, because I need to be able to verify that the housing she's receiving as part of her employment or compensation is actually $350 a month. I don't know anywhere in California, particularly where housing is $350 a month. And all of this is what's best for the children. That is why we're here, is that we've got to get the guidelines.
I want to limit this to argument as to whether or not the court should order Ms. Berry to provide her address. Anything else on that point, Ms. Clemens?
That's it, Your Honor.
Ms. Perriott, would the county like to be heard?
County submits, Your Honor. The only thing the county would note is that if council is able to get this information from the employer, then I don't know why her mother's specific address would be necessary, if that's what it's regarding, but I'll defer to the court.
Ms. Clemens, will you be able to get this information from the employer?
I have no idea, because I don't know if the employer is a related party to her and unrelated. But why should I have to go to her employer to get her address when she's right here and can tell it to me? That's what I'm not understanding, is why she does not have to disclose this information when she's using that as part of her, it comes into the support numbers that we're seeking today for child support.
Given that Ms. Berry has provided the name of her employer, it does appear to the court reasonable for Ms. Clemens to conduct discovery and subpoena records from the employer directly. To the extent, Ms. Clemens, you're not able to get what you need, then of course you can file a motion and the court will decide the matter then.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Clemens, you may proceed.
Yes, thank you. How long have you been employed with the RV park?
Since February.
And how did you get this employment?
A friend.
And what friend is that?
Jason Sandoval.
And are you paid via a check, or how are you paid?
I am paid by direct deposit to get to my Venmo account.
And what is your Venmo account?
My Venmo, what do you mean? That's my Venmo account. It's Amber Berry.
And Venmo is very particular about the identity of their accounts, so can you tell me what the exact user ID is for that Venmo account?
I believe it's my phone number.
In addition to your phone number, though, there's always a way to, like your name, sometimes there's a hyphen in it. Can you look it up and tell me what it is?
Ms. Clemens, it appears to the court this would be more appropriate for a discovery request. Can you move on to the next point?
Okay. And
again, we're really focusing on factors for running a child support calculation.
Certainly. Are you currently married?
No.
And do you have any health insurance expenses?
No. I receive Medi-Cal from the state.
And do you rent a room?
No.
And what is your current housing situation?
A trailer.
And do you own that trailer?
No.
And are you currently looking for work that is full-time?
I believed that I had secured supplemental employment. I have no idea what the status of that is. The last month has been a whirlwind.
What do you mean you thought you had secured supplemental income?
I was in process of contracting work with a company that now has been sabotaged, and the status of that is very undecided.
And what company was that you were claiming was sabotaged?
Abundant Holdings.
And what type of work is Abundant Holdings?
It is a nonprofit.
And How much do you get per pay period? Are you paid? Let me ask you this. What are your pay periods with the RV park?
Twice a month.
And what has your income been year to date from the RV park?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Do you have an estimate?
Year to date, I would say my estimate is, actually I can check. My year to date is approximately $3,500.
Okay, and what are you looking at to determine what your year to date income is?
The amount of deposits from my job.
And do you pay taxes on those deposits?
The withheld from my pay, yes.
So you actually have a pay stub? You get pay stubs?
I don't receive them by mail. They could be provided digitally if I request them.
But you haven't
county where provided them.
And you haven't paid taxes since at least 2019, correct?
No, I haven't. I have not filed taxes. I've paid taxes on my income that's withheld from my paychecks.
And you agree your timeshare with your children is 0%?
I agree.
And when you were a paralegal, how much were you earning per year?
The last time I was a paralegal was 2023. No, I'm sorry, 2003. I think I made $50,000.
And have you applied since 2021 for any paralegal job?
No.
And why not?
I'm not going to pass a background check, and I'm not interested in that career in any way.
And you formerly worked as a behavioral therapist, correct?
Yes.
And how much were you earning per hour as a behavioral therapist?
In 2019 was the last time I worked. I believe it was $27 an hour.
And have you applied for a behavioral therapist job since 2019?
No.
Have you applied for any job that you could use your degrees in either in accounting or in paralegal, with your paralegal certificate?
I've never worked in accounting. I acquired a paralegal certificate in accounting in 1999, and I've never used it. My skills are outdated, and I have not applied for paralegal nor behavioral therapist jobs.
Have you done anything to update your skills?
For
paralegal?
No.
And have you done anything to update your skills in accounting?
No.
Ms. Clemens, it is 4:05, and this is on the regular RFO calendar. It's sounding like an evidentiary hearing at this point. If you want to inquire on the factors for calculating child support, you can conclude, but the court has dedicated a substantial amount of time to this matter already. And yes. So this is not a deposition. You have to do that separately.
And I was just asking those questions in terms of my arguments for imputing income to Ms. Berry, because my argument would obviously be that it should be considerably more than minimum wage, given she has the skills to achieve a much higher income. So I think in terms of the factors, I don't think there's anything else. Ms. Berry, do you have any mandatory contributions that you have to make as a result of your employment?
No.
Just double check, Your Honor. I think that's. Do you have any? You don't own any properties. You don't have any property taxes. No health insurance. No. So, Your Honor, I don't have any more questions on the factors, as mine were obviously largely geared towards her income.
All right. And with regard to father's factors,
Yes.
Ms. Clemens, in reviewing father's income and expense declarations, these are the factors that the court notes. If there are any changes or additions, please do let me know.
Yes.
0% timeshare. I wasn't sure if tax filing status, head of household in 3.
That is correct. That is correct.
Monthly gross income, $150,000. Mortgage interest, $13,283. Property tax, $3,801. And voluntary retirement of $2,542. Are those factors all correct?
It is mandatory retirement for his law firm. And he also has mandatory job-related expenses because it is a big law firm that he has to buy into. I did put that in 10G, and it's also on his pay stub. But if you look, there's $2,692 listed on 10G. The explanation is it's his foundation investment contribution as a result of his partnership, and you can also see it is deducted mandatorily from his pay stubs. It's on each of the pay stubs. It's down below. It says description, post-tax deductions, and those are mandatory. And those have the year-to-date, and I think I just divided them, but this one is year-to-date through September or August. Let me do September. September was $23,200 and no, wait, hold on, sorry. $24,600, and that is on the September 30th, 2024 pay stub.
What is that for specifically?
It's his investments for his work. John, you're under oath if you want to explain it.
My employer requires me to contribute into an investment fund where we invest in our clients. It's not optional, it's mandatory of all partners.
Provide a little more detail. Is this money that's coming back to you?
No, it goes into a fund that's a separate limited liability partnership run by the firm, and it's money that's put into the clients to help fund the clients, because most of our clients are startups and can't fund initially, so part of the way we invest in them by buying into their stock.
Do you receive a benefit from that?
No.
When the stock is sold, do you receive any funds?
No, if I separate from the firm, depending on if I retire from the firm, I get up for, I'm then a stockholder in the fund. If I separate for another reason, the firm keeps the investment.
Is it like profit sharing?
I don't think so. It's like a buy-in, capital buy-in, but not quite the same. It's not part of income that I receive. It's taken out of my pay and put into the fund.
With regard to the retirement account, what type of account is that?
It's a mandatory 401k.
What makes it mandatory?
I don't have the option to, I can add to the amount that's paid in, but I don't have an option to reduce that amount.
Ms. Clemens, it's the court's understanding that a 401k is a voluntary retirement account. Is it your position it's something else? Here?
It can be. So it depends if the his partnership agreement actually says it's mandatory. Sometimes, like county employees have mandatory, they have to contribute to it. He has to contribute to have his job. So that's why it gets put in the DISO master under the mandatory retirement contributions, which is down at the bottom under required union dues.
I know where it is. I know where it is. I'm familiar with that, Ms. Clemens.
Yeah, so that's where, to me, that's where I put it, because it is mandatory for him to have his employment. He doesn't have an option to opt out of it, which would make it voluntary.
Ms. Perry, at the county's position on that?
Your Honor, to be frank, I've never heard this argument regarding a 401, and I don't know if when he went into it, if he had discretion as to the amount that he could put in. I understand the argument with, I believe that's coded under WS Investments. But I have...
If I may interrupt, there's two payments that I have to make. One is to WS Investments. That last year was almost 37,000. And then there's the mandatory retirement, which is 30,000. That mandatory retirement is not something I have a say in. It's required to be contributed. Early in our divorce, it was adjudicated as mandatory retirement. At my prior firms, there's similar obligations. I can add to the 401k, but that's not what we're claiming. We're only addressing the covered amount. And then I have to pay $7,500 into a mandatory WS Foundation, which is basically your charitable trust, in addition to $2,500 into a common stock buy-in.
Ms. Parrott, anything further?
No, I apologize, Your Honor. I don't understand, again, why it would be mandatory, but I don't have the documentation to support that, but I don't have a position either way. I'm not sure how much of a difference it would make.
It's a $2 per month difference.
Let's move on.
Okay. All right. And then as for the job-related expenses, does the county have a position on that?
Submit, Your Honor.
All right. Anything further, Ms. Clemens?
I just didn't know, did you get the health insurance, Your Honor? He does have health insurance. I do know that I don't think I put that on the IED, and I don't know why. But if you do look at his pay stubs, there is health insurance. And Mr. Worley, can you tell me what your monthly health insurance obligation is?
I think it's $2,300 a month, $2,333. It's employer supplemented.
Oh, so they pay for it?
No, I pay a portion. They pay a portion. It's the way it's been at all my firms. Yeah.
So that's $2,300 a month, Mr. Worley?
Yeah, I think it's $2,333.
So that's the only other.
I don't see it on the pay stub. Can somebody indicate where that is?
I was looking at under, is that, John, where it says basic? But yeah, I don't see it on the pay stubs either. John, can you show us where on the pay stubs that is?
Let me pull up a pay stub. I don't know if it's on the pay stubs, because they might take it out once a year. If they take it out once a year, it won't show up on these pay stubs. It won't show up till December or January, I imagine. I don't see it either. I think on my IED, we just put my out-of-pocket, which wasn't insurance.
Oh.
Anything further, Ms. Clemens?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Ms. Berry, anything further?
Nothing further.
Ms. Parriott?
No, Your Honor.
At this time, the court makes the following findings. Timeshare, 0%. Mother's tax filing status, single and 1. The court considered Ms. Berry's testimony that she has not filed taxes since 2019. She did not identify any dependents, so the court finds her tax filing status as single and 1. With regard to mother's monthly gross income, the court considered Ms. Berry's testimony today that she's currently earning $16.75 per hour, working 10 to 20 hours per week, but she is also provided with housing and utilities. She testified the value of the housing is $350 per month. She also testified regarding prior employment, earning $16 per hour and working 25 to 30 hours per week. That was from 2020 to approximately 2022 for a 2-year period. The court considers that as well. The court considers Ms. Clemens' argument that Ms. Berry has been on a job contact order for quite some time and has not complied with that job contact order. At this time, based on the evidence before the court, which consists solely of Ms. Berry's testimony, the court finds mother's monthly gross income is full-time minimum wage, $2,773 per month. No other factors for mother. For father, head of household, and 3, monthly gross income of $150,000, property tax $3,801, mortgage interest $13,283. With regard to father's retirement account, the court notes that on his pay stub, it is listed as a 401k. The court has included $2,542 per month in the voluntary retirement box. The court declines to include father's claimed job-related expenses, finding that it would not be appropriate to include those in the calculation for guideline support, given that they are an investment and that he can recoup some of that cost when he leaves his job. So it's more akin to an investment. Based upon all of these findings, the amount of monthly support owed from mother to father, and the court did apply the low income adjustment, the amount of support owed is $422 per month, and this order will be effective October 1st, 2024. Allocated as follows: to Valentino, $264, to Catherine, $158. Anything further before the court today?
Nothing further from our side, Your Honor.
Hearing nothing, that concludes the matter. Thank you all. Since you're all appearing remotely, the minutes will be mailed. And Ms. Berry, if you would like to receive a mailed copy of the minutes, you will need to provide your current address. Ms. Perriott.
My post office box is still the address of record for the court.
Is that the address that Department of Child Support Services has, Ms. Perriott?
No, I think what we do is email the minute orders to the parties, and we do have an email address on file for her.
Is that acceptable to you, Ms. Berry?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you all. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you, Your Honor.
We have a couple of items remaining.